The Incredible Hulk. Number 5. January 1963. The Incredible Hulk in Beauty and the Beast. The story begins in General Thunderbolt Ross's home, where he and others watch classified footage of the Hulk. One clip shows a close-up of the Hulk. Another captures him escaping a powerful neuron magnet trap by smashing the device with brute strength. A third shows Hulk lifting an entire building, followed by a scene of him withstanding a massive near-atomic missile. Ross declares his duty is to stop the Hulk no matter how strong he is, and tells Bruce Banner he needs scientific help. Banner, with Rick Jones and Betty Ross nearby, promises to try. Ross expresses his disapproval of Rick, but Betty reminds him that Bruce is entitled to choose his own assistant. General Ross voices continued distrust of Bruce Banner to his daughter Betty, calling him secretive. Betty defends Bruce, explaining his access to classified projects. She struggles silently with her feelings, admitting internally that she's in love with Bruce, though he doesn't know. Far underground, the mysterious Tyrannus watches Betty through a surveillance device, vowing to use her love as a weapon to conquer Earth. Surrounded by strange, loyal underground dwellers, Tyrannus declares it is time to strike. He sips from the hidden fountain of youth, revealing it was placed there by Merlin, who had banished him centuries ago. Revitalized, he boasts of finding a servile race and using their help to build an arsenal of powerful weapons. His long-planned revenge is finally underway. Tyrannus admits he fears only one power, America's military might, but plans to use Betty Ross as protection. Meanwhile, unaware of Tyrannus's intentions, Bruce and Rick return to the general's home. Bruce worries that Ross might discover he is secretly the Hulk. He wishes the world would trust the Hulk so he could reveal the truth. Betty introduces Bruce to Mr. Tyrannus, posing as an archaeologist. Bruce is immediately suspicious of Tyrannus's demeanor. Betty notices Bruce's jealousy and hopes her plan to make him notice her is working. Rick and Bruce later follow Betty and Tyrannus's trail into a cave. Bruce finds it odd that Tyrannus lacks archaeological tools. They encounter a giant boulder blocking the path, yet the tracks continue past it. Bruce decides they need Hulk's help to proceed. Beyond the boulder, Betty and Tyrannus travel in a strange underground vehicle. Tyrannus declares the subterranean world as his domain and reveals his ability to spy on the surface. He shows Betty a view of her worried father and threatens that unless General Ross cooperates, his daughter will remain a hostage. As he silences Betty with a boast of ancient magical power, Tyrannus descends deeper with her. Meanwhile, Hulk smashes through the boulder and charges into the cave, determined to rescue Betty. Rick follows despite Hulk's protest. They confront Tyrannus, who boasts that it's too late to stop him. Tyrannus sweeps Betty into a massive descending transport sphere heading for the Earth's core. Rick yells in confusion, but Hulk simply replies they're going to. As soon as the transport pod arrives, Hulk tears it apart, demanding to confront Tyrannus. But Tyrannus has prepared for this moment and unleashes a barrage of volcanic gas. Hulk struggles to breathe, and Rick knows it's one weakness Hulk's strength can't overcome. Choking and disoriented, Hulk pushes forward, determined to reach Betty, but the gas weakens him further with each step until he collapses mid-stride. Later, in a stone cell, Rick shouts for Hulk to wake up, and Hulk awakens groggily. Barely able to move, Hulk mutters that he needs rest. Tyrannus enters the cell and mocks his fallen state, taunting Hulk as a helpless babe. He orders Hulk to his feet, calling him a slave and denying him any chance to recover. Tyrannus declares that though Hulk may recover from the gas, he will still obey, as Betty remains his prisoner. Hulk is fitted with armor and a shield, including asbestos protection, and led to an arena. Rick protests, but Hulk, trying to protect Betty, plays along. Tyrannus unleashes his fire-breathing mechanical warrior for sport. Hulk uses the shield to block the flames, realizing its purpose. Testing another device, he fires back a stun beam and mocks the machine, saying he could do better with one fist. But the robot surprises him by spinning rapidly, then striking Hulk with a powerful mechanical punch. Hulk is caught off guard and knocked backward. Hulk reels from a hit by the mechanical warrior's gadgets, but quickly retaliates. He rips out its steel control cable, taunting that its tricks won't last. Regaining the upper hand, Hulk declares it's his turn and charges forward. As he attacks, Bruce Banner's personality fades, leaving only the savage force of the Hulk. He unleashes a furious assault and smashes the robot to pieces, but doesn't stop there. Driven by rage, Hulk sets his sights on Tyrannus, declaring he still has a score to settle. He smashes through the arena platform, causing chaos among Tyrannus's subjects. Tyrannus, perched above with Betty and his guards, shouts in frustration as Hulk barrels toward him in a fury. As Hulk charges, Tyrannus threatens Betty's life. Hulk halts and Tyrannus uses the moment to fire a paralyzer ray. Rick, unnoticed in the chaos, realizes he must find a way to free Hulk before it's too late. Now under control, Hulk is forced into slave labor. Tyrannus oversees him like a tyrant, demanding faster work. Hulk, driven by thoughts of Betty, performs superhuman feats, building, damming floods, and pounding posts, despite exhaustion. He pushes himself through grueling tasks, refusing to give in. Tyrannus's subjects bark out orders, revealing Hulk has completed 1,000 tasks, yet still has 500 more to go. Meanwhile, Tyrannus grows bored, declaring Hulk's labors no longer amusing, and ominously announces he is going to order Hulk's doom. As soon as Tyrannus exits, a masked figure enters to take Betty away. Betty begins to scream until she finds out her captor is Rick in disguise. He urges her to keep up the act, hoping their bluff will work. After escaping with Betty, Rick reveals himself and warns that Tyrannus plans to eliminate the Hulk. Presently, Rick returns to Hulk's cell and tries to rouse him. Hulk resists at first, fearing for Betty's safety, but she arrives to tell him she's safe, just as Tyrannus's minions appear. Reassured, Hulk rises with fury and smashes through the guards. Though triumphant, Hulk knows they're not free yet. Tyrannus's forces will try to stop them from escaping. As Hulk rampages through Tyrannus's realm, Tyrannus panics and orders his guards to stop him. Hulk reaches a massive support pillar and declares, "This is where I lower the boom." Despite warnings, he topples the structure, triggering a collapse. Tyrannus begs for mercy, fearing he'll be trapped underground forever. But Hulk declares it's too late, crashing the ceiling down behind him. Minutes later, Hulk, Rick, and Betty reach a subsurface escape capsule. Rick, fully qualified to diagnose dissociative psychological disorders, explains that Betty is in a state of shock-induced amnesia and conveniently doesn't remember anything. As they blast toward the surface, Hulk coldly declares, "Let her fear me. Let 'em all fear me. I'm the Hulk." In our second story, the Hulk soars across the night sky in a powerful leap, his immense legs carrying him silently over towns below. Hulk thinks he needs this kind of exercise to stay in shape. Below, hidden military equipment detects his movement before any person can. A team radios Hulk sighted, while in a hidden command post, soldiers report his approach to General Ross. Ross orders the activation of the massive iceberg rocket weapon and plans to intercept Hulk. Rick Jones rushes to warn Hulk as General Ross prepares to launch the iceberg missile designed specifically to capture him. Rick knows Hulk is headed to their hideout and tries to intercept him, but arrives too late. The missile fires, spraying foam around Hulk and instantly solidifying into ice, trapping him in a massive frozen block. Ross races to the scene, certain of victory. But their success is short-lived. The plan didn't account for Hulk's body heat. Like an atomic reactor, his strength and energy cause his temperature to rise dramatically. The ice begins to melt from within, and Hulk starts to break free from his frozen prison. Hulk bursts free from the ice just before the soldiers arrive, realizing General Ross was behind the trap and vowing to remember it. The soldiers try to stop him, but Hulk leaps away before they can catch him. Rick Jones, racing to meet him, knows he must get to their hideout quickly. Though Rick runs with urgency, he's no match for the Hulk's speed. Rick guesses Hulk is already at the hidden underwater lab, where he uses a special ray to transform back into Bruce Banner. Hulk mutters bitterly about having to give up his power and strength to return to his weaker human form. As he activates the device with his foot, a glow engulfs him, and within moments he stands as Bruce Banner once again. Resting after his transformation, Bruce tells Rick that each time he becomes the Hulk, he finds it harder to return to normal. He pleads with Rick never to let him remain as the Hulk if it can be avoided. Meanwhile, in a distant village in Lhasa, panic spreads as the people learn that General Fang and his forces are approaching. A messenger informs the High Lama that their land is about to be invaded. The villagers lament their peaceful nature and inability to resist, hoping the outside world will help, though it may be too late. The High Lama is calm, but the people fear General Fang, described as a ruthless warlord. His heavily armed troops march through snowy terrain led by Fang himself, who cruelly drives his soldiers and prisoners onward with harsh commands. Bruce Banner hears a broadcast alert that General Fang's forces are threatening war. He knows Fang only understands one language, brute force. Bruce feels powerless as just one man, but he realizes there is someone who isn't powerless, the Hulk. Bruce transforms, declaring, "It's time for the Hulk to live again." Fully changed, Hulk prepares for action. Rick protests that Hulk is still only one person, but Hulk brushes him off and searches through a bookshelf. He finds what he's looking for, a book of strange myths and legends. Hulk claims it will help him destroy General Fang's army, though Rick doubts his sanity. Hulk orders Rick to book seats eastward and prepare for their departure. Aboard a flight to the Orient, Rick sits beside Hulk in disguise. A stewardess offers refreshments, but when the plane hits turbulence, she spills hot coffee on Hulk, who reacts gruffly and reveals himself. Startled, the stewardess screams. Seconds later, Hulk tears open the emergency door, causing explosive decompression, instantly cooling fog formation, rapid hypoxia, and catastrophic passenger panic in the cabin. Then leaps from the plane with Rick, determined to reach Formosa. Using his immense leg power, Hulk bounds across a series of islands toward Red China. Pausing briefly in Formosa, he prepares for the final jump. Soldiers confront him, mistaking him for an enemy, but Hulk yells that they're on the same side. Hulk ignores the confusion and, in a display of raw power, unleashes a massive blast of breath to clear a path forward, declaring he has no time for delays. Hulk unleashes his full strength, blasting enemy troops with hurricane-force breath that sends them flying. Rick warns they're regrouping, but Hulk scoops him up and declares they're escaping now. Hulk rips a massive slab of rock from the earth and uses it as a shield while launching into the sky. Enemy fire bounces off the rock as Hulk and Rick soar across the border into Red China. As enemy MiGs close in, Hulk destroys two by smashing them together mid-air. Rick is stunned by the raw power. They land, sending more enemy soldiers fleeing. Hulk boasts he'll do the same to General Fang, but Rick remains cautious, warning that if Hulk can't handle what's ahead, they're both doomed. In the snowy mountains near Lhasa, Hulk disguises himself in a white fur suit, referencing the book of legends he showed Rick earlier. He declares he'll become the one thing the enemy fears, the abominable snowman. As Fang's tanks advance, Hulk uproots a tree and swings it to slow them down. The tank crews panic at the sight of the white-furred Hulk, shouting, "It is the abominable one." Hulk then targets an enemy listening post, destroying it with a thunderous roar. Spotting more troops, he pounds the ground and gives them a small earthquake and sends them flying. Minutes later, terrified soldiers radio General Fang, claiming they saw the legendary snowman. The psychological warfare has worked. Hulk has turned myth into a weapon to demoralize the enemy forces. General Fang silences his fearful men and angrily dismisses warnings about the abominable snowman. Declaring he will defeat this foe like all others, he orders the setup of special projection and sound equipment. Later, Hulk sheds his fur disguise, glad to be rid of it, but is puzzled by the sudden heat. A massive dragon appears, so lifelike that it shocks even the soldiers. Hulk charges through it, revealing it to be a projected illusion. But just as he's ready for a real fight, Hulk lands inside a concealed electrically charged trap. The soldiers celebrate capturing him, locking him in the cage with high-voltage bars. Fang sneers at Hulk, calling him a brainless gargoyle, and promises to personally oversee his execution after destroying Lhasa. As General Fang prepares to launch a missile strike on Lhasa, a hidden figure, Rick Jones, silently approaches the missile controls. By connecting two wires, he causes a short circuit, incapacitating a soldier and disrupting the attack. Rick then hurries to shut off the power, freeing Hulk from the electrified cage. Hulk urges him to hurry, eager to confront Fang. Though some missiles had already launched, Hulk leaps into action, snagging them mid-air. Meanwhile, unaware that his plan has been disrupted, General Fang orders his cavalry to ride on Lhasa, vowing terror and conquest. His horsemen charge across the snow-covered plain, shouting battle cries, unaware that Hulk is now free and ready to stop their brutal advance. Hulk uses captured missiles as weapons, dropping them strategically to blast open a massive chasm and halt Fang's advancing cavalry. He watches the enemy troops face the impassable gap and quips about stopping the toy soldiers. Undeterred, General Fang commands his paratroops to bypass the gap. Moments later, parachutes fill the sky as soldiers descend beyond the chasm. But Fang's forces are no match for the power of the Hulk. Hulk declares he'll give them something to remember and prepares a new tactic. Hulk leaps through the treetops with such force that he bends them backward with sheer wind pressure. Hulk unleashes his treetop wind trap, letting the trees snap back with a swish that creates a massive gust. The artificial gale sends Fang's paratroopers tumbling, their chutes spinning wildly in the air. Hulk grabs Rick and prepares for one final move, determined to finish Fang once and for all. Though Rick protests that the invasion is already stopped, Hulk wants to prove that no one gets away with crossing him. Spotting Fang's retreating jeep, Hulk lands behind it and gets an idea. Instead of chasing Fang, he notices a geyser and plugs it with a massive boulder. The pressure builds beneath the road. Fang, believing he's outpaced Hulk, boasts of victory, completely unaware that Hulk has set a trap that's about to erupt right beneath his escape route. The geyser erupts beneath Fang's car, flipping it into the air as Hulk predicted. Hulk leaps in to save Fang, carrying him and Rick in one tremendous bound over the China Sea to Formosa. Hulk mocks Fang, saying he's not worth finishing off. He drops him in enemy territory to let fate deal with him. Fang flees, terrified, as American forces close in. Fang, his dreams and ambitions shattered, fears when he will meet the Hulk again. Days later, Rick and Hulk hide in a remote area. Rick asks if they're finally safe, but Hulk grimly responds that nobody is safe. He explains that humanity will only be safe once there's no more Hulk, but he plans on being around for a long, long time.